Hi guys, Betsy here with Unique Paper 15. I hope everybody's having a good day and having a great week. I wanted to do a really quick video, and I mean quick. I wanted to show how I choose kind of my layouts, and I know some people have made comments before on, how do you select the papers that go with the images and things like that. We all have our different methods, but I'm going to show you how I do it, and this is kind of how I do a quick card. If I don't want to put a lot of thought into something and I just want to keep it kind of clean and simple. So let's get started. My girlfriend Tamara got me this new stamp set, which I'm in love with. It is by ALTENEW, and I believe the name of it is Don't Know, Maybe Love You. But it's this one right here. It's so adorable. Oh, it's called Hug Me. Sorry about that, guys. It's called Hug Me. And it's adorable, and it has tons of just big images that can be the card. And I'll show you what I mean by that. For example, this one right here, it didn't need a lot because that guy is so big. And just a quick tip on this, when I don't know what to put, what colors, I just try to mimic something from the image. In this case, it's balloons. So I just made a lot of balloons and put them in various places in somewhat of that color family. So you'll see what I mean here. Okay, so this one we're gonna do right now is Hug Me. Again, that's like the largest stamp in this set, and that is enough to make a card. So what I've done is I went ahead and I stamped out some images on Copic paper, basically the whole entire stamp set, just minus the sentiments. And I took one of my dies here, stitch dies, in the rounded rectangle type of shape, and I just cut it out. So now I've gotten what I call as my front piece. I know that this is going to be my front piece. I went ahead and just colored them up, and now I'm going to be looking for colors. So I try to think, okay, what goes nice with orange? I know that brown and orange, they mix very nice together. So I started looking through my paper packs, and what I did was I just grabbed out a couple paper packs and went through it. And in the process, I just kind of hold them up to everything and see how it looks against the brown and the orange. That's my process. And also, what shape? Do I want big dots? Do I want gingham, plaid? Do I want stripes? That's kind of my mental process. So in that process, this is what I discovered. That it looked nice with gray. That was my decision. So I found this gray piece right here, and I said, well, that looks really nice. It's kind of muted. It doesn't overtake the image. It goes nice with brown, and it goes nice with orange, and the stitches look somewhat, I don't know, not blendable, but they look nice against this plaid, this gingham, whatever you want to call it. So I know that it can't just go directly on there. There has to be some type of step down. So I took a solid grayish brown. You can kind of see there. It's not directly gray, it's not directly brown. So it's soft. And there's brown here, so there's brown tones in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down to give it a little bit of a border, and then we'll put it against that, and then we'll make our card. But better yet, instead of that, we're going to also have a background. Now, what I did was I made just a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 white piece of cardstock, and I stamped one of the smaller images here. I'll show you. I think it's, it's a mini version of this guy in almost the same pose, and it's that one right there. And then I used some of these hearts, and then some other supporting hearts from another stamp set that my friend Amanda sent me. And this heart has lines in it I like, and this one is a double heart. So what I've done is I just randomly stamped the little fox everywhere in this wet cement mid-tone, because it's like a brownish gray. It's almost the exact same color as these. And I always start in the middle and then work my way out, and I try, and what my trick is, so that it never looks like pre-planned, is I stamp and I spin my paper and I stamp, because I really want it to be organic. I don't want these little items to look like I perfectly placed them. So I literally spin my sheet and then I stamp like that. So it's always really random. And then what I did was I tried to pick something soft that I thought would look nice with a gray. And that was Tattered Rose. It's something that we use a lot for flesh colors. So that's what I put all the hearts in. And you can see it doesn't overpower the image. It's very soft. And also it keeps the card gender neutral. So this could be for a boy or a girl. So what we're gonna do is we're going to assemble the card here together and see how it looks. So let's get to it. Should be quite easy. Now the first decision we need to make is, do we want this background piece to be squared or rounded? You know, what's gonna look best with that? So let's go ahead and cut it to a square first, or rectangle I should say, and see if we like it. So I'm just gonna give a little bit of gap on both sides. That's about enough, about 1/4 inch. Cut that down, and again we're going to balance it out to where it looks like it's about 1/4 inch on each side, right there. Okay, now let's see if we like those straight edges against this plaid. Now I'm gonna trim away my phrase here. And yes, my blade on there is new. It just, some of the papers fray, some don't. So now we're gonna see if we like it like that, because I could round it again, but I don't know if I want it to be too matchy-matchy. So we have that. I kind of like it. So now I'm going to cut this down, and I need to see how much I want to cut down, probably another 1/4 inch, because I don't want to lose a lot of what we've done back there. So let's go ahead and cut down another 1/4 inch. Now on the back side, there's a larger pattern, but I don't want to go with the large because I'm trying to make everything look small and dainty. So that's kind of my thought process behind that. So let's go ahead and cut this guy down like that, right there. There we go. And this is one of those new paper packs I got from the Hobby Lobby haul. I'm absolutely in love with this paper pack. It was $3.25 for this huge paper pack, and the selection is amazing. I absolutely love it. It's called Ice Cream Parlor. Okay, now we have our layout. So we see a lot of the background stamping. That looks nice. I'm gonna see if I need to trim any phrase. I like everything to be nice and clean. Now, you could also round the corners on this one if you wanted to, but remember, we're trying to keep this a nice quick card. So, what do I want to do now? I want to make my base. So I know that I basically just have to half this thing, but I want it to be perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my scoreboard and just really quick line it up so I know that it's perfect. This thing has saved so many cards for me. Okay, so we just need this guy because he's the one that we're measuring up here. And do I want him to show white on the edge? Probably not. I want it to be that this is the base. So I'm going to go right up to the edge here and just give it a few nice deep scores. Now, some people bend in, some people bend out. You'll see what I mean here. Some people go this way, some people go that way. I like to go this way because I always feel like this is the nicer side of the paper. So I go towards myself, I guess I could say. And then what I do is I come right along this edge here and I score it so that it gives it somewhat of a lip. So it's almost like a book. It always helps with my cards. And it also helps the flap stay a little closed. So now you have this really deep groove there. You see that? Now I'm going to trim it down to right there, and it should be right around 4.5. It's a little more than 4.5. That's okay. Okay, now we have our card this way. Now I just need to cut it this way. And we should be right around, let's see, 5. I'm sorry, so this paper was bigger, so this is 5 7/8. Okay, this was not 5 1/2, it was a little more than 5 1/2. So this is where we need to be, is 5 7/8. So I'm going to open this up, and this is where you start to get those big frays when you fold it in half like that. So I always open mine. Okay. Another thing I've learned with this board is not to go back, but to just lift it up and go up again. If you go back, this is not the best cutting board. It'll really fray your paper. I don't know what the difference between the knives in this We Are Memory Keepers versus my Fiskars, but this one will fray paper all the time. Okay, so we're done with that guy. Now we have our card base. So I'm gonna adhere this here and then these on top, and we're gonna put some embellishments. I'm gonna make this very simple. Take out my ATG, just give it a few. See, there's a little piece of paper there, don't like that. Okay. Just give it some nice edging and a crisscross in the middle, and that's all we really need on this. And then we can decide if we want to add some foam to lift any of this up. So let's see here. Let's make it as nice and straight as possible. And if you have a preference to which side you want up or down, now's your time to do it. But this I did randomly, so I don't care which direction is up or down. Okay, now is when we need to decide, do we want to put dimension on this? And if we do, what do we want to lift? Do we want to lift this? Do we want to lift these together, or all of this? What is it we want to do? I think that I would probably lift this section and then put it on there if I'm going to lift anything. So let's get to it. I'm going to put this piece down in the middle, and then we'll have something to anchor the other two on. Okay, so this is when you need to really eye it. So I'm going to come against this grid here, and then I'm going to try to see if I'm in the middle the best I can. And let's see here. The plaid throws me off a little bit. Let's see how that looks. Doesn't look too bad. These guys throw me off a little bit, and then the plaid is off. So let's just make sure everybody's straight. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we want to pop these guys up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue him down on the gray, and then we'll pop the gray up. There we go. All right, now let's grab our foam tape and our foam scissors. Okay. I always have little bits and pieces. I save my spares for who knows what. Okay, now let's pop this guy up. Now we could pop him up single or double, whatever you want to do. It depends on how tall you want him to go. If you want to pop him up double, I recommend just folding this whole thing in half the first time. It's easier and it saves you a lot of time. So this guy here, I never like to go all the way to the edge because I feel like you can see it. So I try to come about a 1/4 inch from the edge with my foam. And then we're going to do a couple crisscrosses here in the middle just to support it. Remove our backing. Now all of you know how to make a card, I'm sure. This is just for maybe some people that are starting out, or you struggle with how do I find the right pattern papers, the colors, like what goes with what. Some people struggle with that. I mean, I struggle with many things, but one of my favorite parts is picking the papers and all of the embellishments that go with the cards. That's like the cherry on top for me. That's really my fun part. So now you see we've put some dimension there, and I'll bring it up a little closer. You see that? So now we have them lifted, and if you see what I mean, the stitches kind of go nice with that plaid there. And then the grays all kind of match. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick some embellishments. So I figured it's gotta be something light and pastel-y, but we don't want something too much. So I found these Neat and Tangled. It's called their Spring Sequin Mix. And you can see here, they're very light. I'll come in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing up close. Okay, there we go. So what I'm gonna do is use these, and then I figured we'd probably should do something with that orange because that's like the pop of the card. Now these Tattered Rose hearts are like a downplayed color of that heart, but now we want to bring that orange back to life. So I have these little beads that I got from Joann's, from Darice. They're meant for jewelry, but I use a lot of beads like that. So I have a little vessel here that I'm going to put everything we decide to use because, as you know, these things can get lost on your table really quick. So I'm going to pour a few sequins out, and I'm sure there's going to be one in there that we need. I'm looking for like a grayish neutral color, and then we're going to pour out just a couple of these little orange guys. There you go. And that's it. So now I'm going to take my Thermoweb, I believe it's Thermoweb. It's my favorite glue in the whole world. And my Quick Stick, and we're gonna put a couple down. Now everybody always says the rule of 3 is best, right? So let's stick to that. So we're gonna find something that looks kind of grayish. That is like a neutral grayish color to me. It's a little lavender, but when you put it with this card, it looks like it's a grayish type of color. So now I'm looking for the last one, and I think it's this guy. Okay, now I'm going to glue those down, and then we're going to put the orange on top. So now we want to pick where. Do we want to do the triangle that everybody does? Do we want to group them together? How do we want to do it? I think I'm going to do one up here, over here, and one over here. So I'm going to do the triangle. So let's go ahead and do it. Just one little drop, because we're going to put another drop on top of this. So now the second one. You don't need very much, obviously, for a sequin. And then this one. I actually want to get that, is it katana? I forget the name, but it's like a jewel picker, and it's supposed to be really good for sequins and stuff instead of this Quick Stick. So now we're going to put another little drop inside of each sequin, and we're going to come back with our orange beads, and that should bring a little bit of color into these cards, or into this card. So there's almost one there. One there. And it's okay if they're not perfectly centered. You don't want all of your art always perfect. You want it to look organic. And 3. Okay, so now we've gotten our sequins on, and I think that's going to be our final embellishment. I don't want to put too much on because it's going to be a clean card. So you can see what I mean here. It brings that orange back, but it doesn't put too much on the card, and it still makes it look cute. All right, guys. That's my video. I hope you like my paper selections, and if you have any that you use every day, please comment down below. I'd love to use some of your tips and tricks too. But that's it. I hope you guys like the card. Have a good day, and thanks for stopping by.